evening and happy third week of Advent, which we are coming up upon. The Sunday, so that coming Sunday begins the third week of Advent, and it's called Gaudete Sunday. I might not be saying that right, but Gaudete. Now, actually, I think that is right because I took Latin in school, and it's a Latin word. So Gaudete is a Latin word meaning rejoice. And this third week of Advent is when we rejoice and celebrate and contemplate joy. Now, last week, during Week of Peace, we talked about how dreams can make space for peace and help us work towards peace. And these principles of Advent, hope, peace, joy, and love, these things can't just appear out of nothing, right? We have to allow them in and take actions that can make space for these things to occur. And one way to make space and to encourage joy is through helping and healing. So helping and healing is what we're going to focus on today. Now, like last week, we're going to read from Isaiah. And last week we heard Isaiah describe a vision of peace. And today we hear about another of Isaiah's visions. And this is from Isaiah chapter 31, verses 1 through 10. The desert and the dry land will be glad. The wilderness will rejoice and blossom like the crocus. They will burst into bloom and rejoice with joy and singing. They will receive the glory of Lebanon, the splendor of Carmel and Sharon. They will see the Lord's glory, the splendor of our God. Strengthen the weak hands and support the unsteady knees. Say to those who are panicking, be strong, don't fear. Here's your God coming with vengeance, with divine retribution. God will come to save you. Then the eyes of the blind will be opened, and the ears of the deaf will be cleared. Then the lame will leap like the deer, and the tongue of the speechless will sing. Waters will spring up in the desert, and streams in the wilderness. The burning sand will become a pool, and the thirsty ground fountains of water. The jackal's habitat a pasture. The grass will become reeds and rushes. A highway will be there. It will be called the Holy Way. The unclean won't travel on it, but it will be for those walking on that way. Even fools won't get lost on it. No lion will be there, and no predator will go upon it. None of these will be there. Only the redeemed will walk on it. The Lord's ransomed ones will return and enter Zion with singing, with everlasting joy upon their heads. Happiness and joy will overwhelm them. Grief and groaning will flee away. So there's some very obvious references to healing in these verses, right? So the blind will be able to see, the deaf will be able to hear again, and the lame will be able to walk. But it goes further than just sick people getting better and being cured of their diseases and ailments. Isaiah talking about a larger kind of healing. And to understand that better, let's consider a little more closely some of the words Isaiah uses. So the verse starts with, the wilderness will rejoice. And the Hebrew word here for wilderness, or word that's translated as wilderness, is midbar. And this word meant wilderness or desert, but at the time, the meaning of the word, like now we think of wilderness, you think of like a jungle, a very rainforest, and you think of a desert as some dry, arid place. But midbar didn't mean either one of these specifically. It meant more a place that was uninhabited by people. And the word had many meanings for Israel and various connotations. So midbar was a place populated by deadly animals, as we hear about in Deuteronomy. And in Exodus, we hear how that water is scarce and crops don't grow and how it's a dangerous place. And we also hear about how it's a place where it's easy to get lost. But Isaiah starts out this verse by saying that this scary wilderness, instead of being scary, will rejoice. And then later on goes to say more specifically how these dark, hostile places will be transformed into wonderful and beautiful lands. So, for instance, the wilderness will blossom and burst into bloom. The waters will spring up in the desert. And then at the very end of the verse, Isaiah talks about the holy way, a pathway in the desert that everyone can walk on. And if we have trouble walking on this way, not only will God help us along our way, but we'll also have the help of each other. And this is also a part of healing. So in the Hebrew scriptures, healing is more than just curing illness, as we hear about the blind being able to see, etc. It's intimately connected with salvation and with putting things right with other people, putting things right with God. And so it's important to think of healing in this larger way. And more than just no longer being sick, but by being feeling better, by getting help by others, by helping others, by improving ourselves and helping others around us. So I'm going to share with you a personal story before I end about how helping each other to heal can allow for this joy, a space for joy to enter, as I referred to at the beginning of this lesson. So those of you who were at or saw the worship last week, I lit a candle for the people in the community of Millinocket when I went up to race the Millinocket half marathon. And so when I went up this week, it was raining, it was cold. I've done some training, but health wasn't been great, so I wasn't sure how it's going to go. And usually I get all excited for this race, but this time I was just not feeling it. And I was like, why am I doing this? I keep asking myself, why? And afterwards, like, oh, I remember why I do it, because it's this amazing race. So not the amazing race, but this marathon was created as a way to help the community of Millinocket. A number of years ago, their paper mills closed down, and the town and region became rather destitute because that was where most people worked. And they're beginning to make some inroads into finding other ways of making a living now and revitalizing the community, which is great. But people are struggling there. So this race was created in part to help them because it brings all these people to town. And for the runners, usually there's like a really expensive entry fee to take part in a race because there's lots of things that has to be paid for. But this race is free. You don't have to pay for it to participate. But the understanding is, okay, it's free because instead of putting money towards paying for this event, you're going to spend money in the community and go to the businesses, buy from them, eat from the restaurants, buy things at the crafts fair. And it's amazing when, as a runner, when I go up for this event, I'll be running and people are thanking me from the community are thanking me. Like, I didn't do anything. I just showed up and I'm running 13 miles. But the people are so appreciative of this event because it really has grown crazy. It was 25 people to 6. This was its 7th year, so 7 years ago, and now it has 2,000 people. So it grew really fast, and it's a huge boost to the economy of the region. And there's this one woman, the mitten lady, and she makes thousands of pairs of mittens from old sweaters. She upcycles them, and she's become, everyone always gets her mittens when they go and get this race. So she sells a lot of mittens there, and this is part of her income now. And so it's a huge help to the community, but it's also the community is also so supportive of the runners. So like it was raining this time, I thought, no one's going to be out there, but everyone was out there at the aid stations, under tents, or kids were sitting in the cars to slap the runners' hands as they went by. And when you're running a long distance and you're tired, like those little things make a big difference. And they're so appreciative of the runners that come to this event. And the runners are just so appreciative of these people who are so supportive of them running. And it's this just magical experience. It really is. They call it, the magic of Millinocket. But it really feels that way, being there, because this community, this sort of two communities, this Millinocket community and the running community, but they come together and really help each other, this symbiotic relationship. And it's so appreciated by all. It's sort of created this other sort of meshed community, merged community of this Millinocket marathon. That it's just, there's nothing like it. You got to run it or go go up and see it to understand it. But it's really cool. So I wanted to end with, and so I mentioned this because, well, first, because I just did it, so I'm all sentimental about it right now. But it's people helping each other and allowing for healing. And like this race can be physically healing on people, mentally healing for people. I started collecting stories about a few years back about why people run it, and a lot of them, it's like a mentally healing thing, and they're dealing with stuff, and this race has helped them deal with that. And I go, and all these people being so supportive, it brings me such joy. And in fact, one of my traditions is a crafts fair that I always go to. That's a part of the event. And I always buy myself a Christmas ornament every year. And two of the ornaments that I got, and forgot to bring them up to show you guys, this was last year, this was 3 years ago, I think. Joy, because that's what this race brings me. It just, I mean, who would think like running 13 miles in the wind and cold and rain brings you joy, but it's about the people. And that's where the joy comes from. So to conclude, I'm going to tell you about an experience, and then I'm going to show you, I'm going to patch in the video afterwards so you can see it. So right before the race, a woman from the National Guard got up to sing the national anthem. And just after she started, the microphone cuts out. From where I was standing, you couldn't hear at all. And you could see her, she was looking like really awkward and uncomfortable. It's like, okay, what do I do now? No one can hear me. But then as soon as the microphone came out and cut out, all of a sudden, everyone else that was there started singing she was singing the national anthem. Did I say that? She got up to sing the national anthem. And yeah, as soon as the microphone cut out, no one could hear her. Everyone else in the crowd just started singing to support her. And then she started singing along with them. And then the microphone came back on again. So she was able to continue and everyone sang along with her. And it's like, I get teary just like thinking about it. It was so amazing. And here was this whole crowd of people helping out this person and saving her from what could have been a miserable experience into something that was joyful. So what I'm going to do is I have a little video of it. It's from the back, and so you can't really see her reactions. And it's also right next to her, so when the microphone cuts out, you can still hear her, but I think you hear the difference of when the microphone goes off. And so I will show you that video. I'll patch that into the when I put this all together, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have much joy in your third week of Advent.